Now, the Basic Education Department is cracking down on teenage pregnancy and specifically statutory rape. The new policy suggests that schools will have to send police reports if a pregnant girl is under the age of 16 and the father of the child is older than 16. Civil and criminal proceedings will also have to be followed. Elijah Mhlanga, Basic Education Department spokesperson, joins me now from Pretoria now for more on this. Elijah, good to speak to you as always. Now, this is good news. Schools will be compelled to tell police about underage pregnancies if the father is over 16. One would have thought this was taking place already.
Good evening, Tony. Well, it is good news, but it's rather too late because we have thousands of young people who have since fallen pregnant, and the people who made them pregnant are not known. We have hundreds of cases of statutory rape which have not been reported to the police. In fact, the police have said, we have seen the statistics that we've published, but we don't have a record of these types of cases. So the gazetting of this policy has come at the right time in that we are going to be able to start dealing with this, but it comes at a time when already a lot of lives have been destroyed through common assault offenses and other cases that have since taken place. So we're trying to close a gap where society wasn't playing its part.
But, I mean, how far can, a principal or other educators, investigate such a matter? Because you're leaving it up to the child to tell you, listen, this is who the father is. Well,
it says that if, for example, the person who made the girl child pregnant is an educator, we are going to suspend that person. And then deal with them in terms of the Employment of Educators Act, disciplinary processes thereof. But if the person is a learner, is a fellow learner, then we'll have to call the families of the concerned children to come to the school so that we get to understand what is taking place. But if it's an adult who's not involved in the basic education sector, we are therefore going to make sure that we alert the police so that they do their work. Right now, that is not taking place. In fact, we have a situation where a girl child is fallen pregnant. The school will chase that girl away to say, go give birth and come back when you die. It's something which we don't allow in the policy that we have gazetted now. So we are trying to protect the girl children themselves because we know that they need support. Once they fall pregnant, they need support, medical support, financial support, but also in terms of their schoolwork. So it is in their best interest to tell us who it is that's involved. We don't believe that they are going to protect the perpetrators. We don't believe that they are going to protect the people who have impregnated them because it's in their interest that that person shows up so that they play their part and support them through all the ways that will help the child to be able to continue with their education.
So in the bill, you also state the educator appointed by the school will provide counseling, support and advice. Is this a principal? Are you training certain teachers within schools to be able to assist, let's say, the girl child, and even if it's a boy child who's involved with the girl child? Do you have specific teachers with it or educators within schools to handle that?
Yes, we do. The life orientation teachers are already trained in this regard, so it is mainly them who support the girls that have fallen pregnant in school, and they make sure that they arrange classes, catch-up classes for them when they come back after long absence from school, or when they miss out on school days because they've gone for checkup or whatever medical attention that may arise. So it is them who mainly take up that work. But with the policy now coming into full effect, it means that we need to sensitize them, but we're already doing that because we've been running workshops in the past few months, sensitizing our school governing bodies, our parents, school management teams, so that they are fully aware of what is coming through, so that they do their best to accommodate the children, but also to comply with the law, but also play their part in terms of reporting cases with the police, especially where statutory rape or other forms of sexual assault has taken place.
So the bill also states schools also have no right to prevent girls who are pregnant from attending school. Obviously, that there's always been a debate about that in terms of are you encouraging other girls and so forth. But it's also education is also a human right, isn't it?
It is absolutely a human right, and in fact, the Constitution says that every child has a right to education, full stop, which means all must be done by everyone to ensure that the children continue to access their education, whether you're a boy or girl. But in this case, we're focusing on the girl children because it is them who miss out on many school days because they're fallen pregnant. Some of them are not able to work because of the long distances. Others are missing out on exams, which could be life-changing experiences if they were to pass and progress and go forward. That's why we're saying now we need to make sure that those people that are involved in making them fall pregnant must also play their part. But it starts with the curriculum. The curriculum is teaching them to know. It's educating them about the consequences of early and unwanted pregnancies, what they need to do to prevent. Abstinence is what we say is first prize, but we know in real life, sexual activity is taking place among young children. That's why we call upon parents to also play their part, to be the first people that teach their children about these matters. In school, we reinforce, but they need to play their part. That's why we feel it has to be a partnership and a fully functional partnership so that we work together to protect our children. Child protection is everybody's business.
Just going back quickly to, we spoke about educators, some of these kids, educators having relationships with school kids, a very unfortunate situation. We know it does happen. I mean, one instant here of a teacher who made his wife in a school go pregnant at the same time in the Western Cape, and then they try to negotiate a way out of it and so forth, which seems a little ludicrous. Is there record keeping? In terms within the department itself, so that if that teacher, he was fired in the end, he cannot move to another province or elsewhere to get a job. There is some sort of database that is within the Department of Basic Education?
Absolutely. In fact, 6 months ago, we published a new set of regulations that govern the conduct of teachers in schools, and there are live bans in certain cases, and there are extended punishment that will be meted out to teachers who are involved in misconduct of different types. So alongside that, there's this database that prevents provinces from employing teachers. We know that some of them will move from public schools to private schools, but we're saying we need to close that gap. We need to tighten the regulations, the law, to make sure that we close the space for them. They should never work with children anyway. And we implore upon provinces, because they are the employers, but also independent schools, private schools, to check the background of these teachers so that they don't employ sex offenders. So we have that in place. It's still new in implementation, but we have published it, and our schools and our provinces, district and secretary offices are familiarizing themselves with it so that they know that, and they check, they do a thorough background check of our teachers, but also the South African Council for Educators have now started saying, before we can employ you as a teacher, you need a security clearance by the police. So we are tightening the space around vetting, because we want to protect not only the learners, but also other teachers as well, because other teachers come with criminal offenses and criminal records. And that cannot be good for people who work in a space where there's a large number of people. So you want a good behaving people. It's not foolproof, because some change in the course of teaching after coming with a clean record. But what we really need to do is to work together, that we report strange behavior by teachers. Those that would have been found guilty, we close down the space, that they don't find employment in the space ever again.
Okay, so just a quick recap, and just to confirm, from now onwards, if an educator, and I'm using an educator as an example because that is something that is under the DBE. If an educator makes an underage girl pregnant, straight to the police station.
Absolutely, we straight to the police, but also we deal with them through the Employment of Educators Act. So you will be dealt with from all sorts of angles, to make sure that we make it a good example of you so that you don't do this again. But the policy starts working as from January, which is basically next month. And we expect that it will be applicable right across the system.